There's a Charles Bridge. So there it is in on the map, and there it is in real life. It's in the distance, and that is how do I pronounce it? Vishad? Yeah, I guess it's a church. Almost at Vishad, and that was a heavy hill going up, and I was recommended to come here. So let's have a look. Look at these gates you got to go through. Hey, is that not just worth it just to see the gates? And we've arrived. This is obviously the cemetery. I mean, what a fitting arrival. I don't know about you, but actually cemeteries interest me. I just like reading about people's history. 1898. I'm sure they're even older than that here. I'm going to the Jewish cemetery later. But in the meantime, let's have a look around here. So this is the Basilica at Vishad, and according to Wikipedia, it's a historic fort located in the city of Prague. It was built probably in the 10th century on a hill overlooking the Vltava River. So apparently it has hidden passages, large grounds, which I agree, and the remains of a medieval basilica. I don't know if the church itself was built in the 10th, but the area was certainly established around that time. Let's have a look around. Okay, it's almost 10 o'clock and in the morning, and I've scored a really good position. Not too crowded. I mean, it's crowded, but it's not too crowded. Isn't that beautiful? I'll look around there shortly. And that's what I came to see. So this is the apostles coming through, and the skeleton ringing the bell. Crowed. The astronomical clock is just to the left, and this is a statue of Jan Hus. And the interesting thing about him, from what I understood watching Rick Steve's video, is that he was trying to protect those who wanted to get baptized. It definitely is the prettiest, most originally, most different city I've ever been to. Most traditional. A slightly different view. Vltava River. You have Prague Castle, and actually on the other side of the road here you can see the Charles Bridge from a different perspective. And the Jewish quarter, that's just up here. They got a Spanish synagogue, and I think the oldest synagogue in Eastern Europe. That's what I understand. So if you're going to do the tour of the Jewish quarter, you're going to go to 7 different synagogues and community related areas. This one here, of course, is the oldest synagogue in Europe.
Yeah.
Dates back to the 10th century. So this is inside of the old new synagogue. Very crowded and getting more crowded by the minute. Has a hell of a history though, as the main synagogue in the eastern, this part of Europe. The seat's always left vacant. There's the Vimmer. And everything revolves around 12. It was interesting, the two windows on this side being wider, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows on this side being thinner, to not allow so much, I guess, disruption to come in. But there's actually 12 windows. Everything's around 12 apostles. And very briefly, this is inside of the Maslova synagogue. Also has a very interesting history. Apart from being burnt down in the 1600s, the person who actually built the original fell in good favour, and was able to be one of the few people to actually ride by horse through the town. And he was a huge benefactor in the establishment of the Jewish community here in Prague. And here it is, the name. So I'm now in the Pinkas synagogue, and what's interesting here is they've listed the names of every single Jew that died between 1939 and 1945 on every single wall. Every wall. And there are walls. The shingle. Are covered in the names. And this is the Jewish cemetery just located next to Pinkas synagogue. So the Jewish cemetery here dates back 1500s and has the largest cemetery of its kind in the Bohemia, Moldavia. And what happened is when they because they've got so many people, they actually, instead of, you can't disturb the grave, so they put soil on top of the grave and then buried on top, and then just move the tombstones up. And that's why it's all on the hill. Just leaving the Jewish cemetery, which is up there, and I was listening to one of the tour guides talk about how the rising and the fall of the levels in the cemetery were reflected in the Berlin memorial that I had earlier, where also it undulated up and down. So interesting how people bring perspective from one venue to another. And this is inside of the Klausolva synagogue. It dates back to, I think, 1570, although I know it burnt down, and but I think it's Baroque style. And 1639 Torah. so old. Here's a perspective from the upper level. So I'm now in the ceremony room, and this is where people who were Jewish faith came to be buried, or at least to be cleaned. So money was collected as charity, and they were put in a board and washed. And this is the room. This is where you came when you were dead, where the shroud was made. And this is outside of the community centre in Prague, the place where you were washed before your burial, and the cemetery literally through that passageway there. The seventh and most spectacular and final synagogue in the region is the Spanish synagogue. Certainly the newest one has also seen renovations over the years from the 1600s. In fact, that organ was added, and the guy who played the organ was the one who actually wrote the national anthem. So there you go. Bit of history there, people. Scrub that 1600, it's more like 1389, and earlier than that even. Okay, that was the Jewish quarter, and now it's about 2 o'clock. It took about 3 hours to do that, at least. And now I wanted to go here because it had been highly recommended by so many on YouTube, and that's Local. I think there's a couple of locales around, but anyhow, here we are. A busy little restaurant, plenty of reserved spaces, but there's also some that are available. And each day it looks like they have a different menu. This is 12th of June. You can put it on pause. I've just ordered a Pilsner, that's it. Plenty of beers here. And wines. There you go. This is the cauliflower soup. It'll cost you 39 Czech koruna. And delicious. This is the baked beef with sauce and eggs. Although I can't see either. It must be in there actually. And bread dumplings. Loads of bread. Okay, that was Local. So that cost 211 kronen, which was for the beer, which does really make you drunk. The soup, which is cauliflower soup, and the third thing was the roast beef with the dumplings, which was on special for 125. So all up 211. That worked at about €8. That works out at about $13 Australian for everything. I get why it's popular, and the staff are fantastic.